28-minute delay here at Shea. Fans are filing in. This is like a shitty Rutgers game here when no one's there at the beginning of the game. That's right. The Jimmy Palumbo show here under severe technical issues going on here on show number 142. Now, of course, I'm doing the show alone for a minute here because your friend and mine, Dave Sturcio behind the glass, is in Disney World. As soon as Cowboys won 4 in a row, he got so happy, he decided to just take his family to Disney World. When they lose in the playoffs in January, I'm not sure where he'll be taking his kids, probably to the St. John Vianney Fair on free wristband night here, Shay. I'm not so sure. Dave may hop in on us. He's trying to come through here now, but I'll just start it with like I always do. One thing about the Jimmy Palumbo show, the smoothness, like a young Clyde Drexler going to the hole at the start of our show. I must have the worst fucking show ever. It always starts shitty. It's always like, you know what this show's like? When you sit down and watch a football game on your favorite team and they kick the ball out of bounds and they start at the 35. That's the Jimmy Palumbo show. Jimmy takes the kick. It's high spiraling out of bounds at the 4. Wow. They'll start at the 35 here at Shea. But my baseball card is another guy. This is the second year in a row we have another great player. My buddy Tommy Plinio loves this guy. So did I. Great wiffle ball player if you use his batting stance. None other than Gary Sheffield. Now, I forgot. Listen, I was looking up stuff about Gary Sheffield, and this guy, clearly, he's like a Hall of Famer, like easy. However, steroids, and he's in that whole Bonds thing and some other players. But I got his 2006 card. He was Dwight Gooden's nephew, and he definitely lived with him for a while, him and his family. But listen, Gary Sheffield played 22 years, batted 292, 509 ding-dongs, 2689 hits, and 676 RBIs. Played with Milwaukee, the Padres, the Marlins, Dodgers, Atlanta, Yankees, Detroit, and the Mets. I think the Mets got to lead the league in like guys who were great play their last year with the Mets. They have to have the most of that. I don't know, maybe the Devil Rays too. But he played with the Yanks in 04, 05, and 06. 04 with the Yankees, he batted 290, 36 home runs, 120 RBIs. 05, he batted 291, 34 home runs, 123 RBIs. And he got hurt in 06, but he still batted 300, 298. Listen, I mean, Gary Sheffield was awesome. You imagine right now if somebody, this is like Aaron Judge numbers here. He hit 100 RBIs with 5 different teams. That's never been done. And you know what? He only struck out 80 times twice. Think about that for a second. He walked a lot, so that was cool. But he's a crazy bastard, this guy, Gary Sheffield. He tried to fight his little league coach, chased him around with a bat. He was the Gatorade Player of the Year. And then after a while, he just called everyone a racist. Joe Torre with the Dodgers. Everybody was a racist. He seemed like he hated everybody. He did face his uncle, Dwight Gooden, in the game. I couldn't imagine pitching to my nephew in a game. I could barely, play wiffle ball against my nephews. Imagine facing your nephew in a major game. He thought Torre treated black players different. And then he said Jeter wasn't all the way black. I mean, these are just ridiculous comments. He only got 1 World Series ring. He batted 248 in the playoffs. He played 44 playoff games, 6 home runs, 19 RBIs. Did well in the Boston series, the disastrous 2004 series. He batted 333. So that's my guy, Gary Sheffield. Now, I'm actually going to bring a real quick coming in live. Now, I'm coming, of course, from downtown Mawa, but coming from downtown Walt Disney Studios, your friend and mine, Dave Sturcio. Dave, how we doing, buddy?
It is a fun day here in Walt Disney World. I also brought a card. I have a card. So,
first of all, Dave, this is the most preparation you've done for my show ever.
Yeah. So I brought a card, and it is an exclusive postcard of Donald Duck. And they're all autographed. So
Autographed by the official. Wow, you actually met. Listen, I know if your kids are in the room, you met the real Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and Cinderella and.
so far, I've met everybody but Mickey. Mickey's MIA right now. We're probably gonna meet him tomorrow, but.
Well, listen, Mickey. Listen, it's Mickey Mouse, and so he don't show up every day. He's like he's LeBron, bro.
He's LeBron.
He just, I mean, like if you were Mickey Mouse, he's like Mickey only works like probably 8 days a year there. He's not gonna, come on now. He doesn't show up like Cinderella and those like other shitty Disney movies that came out in the last 10 years.
I'm thinking it's like load management right now. He's like off on it.
Yeah, he took off the holiday. Listen, because Mickey's busy during the Easter week,
right?
And it's hard for Mickey to plan when the Cowboys are doing well when you decide to go away on a trip. I don't know if you heard my comment earlier. Cowboys lose in January, and all of a sudden, St. John Vianney Fair wristband night here on Wednesday night. Look at the young Miles on that shitty roller coaster, and his daughter getting involved, getting some cotton candy. And there's $1,100 going off on the 50-50. Listen, you've been sending me your photos are just, I got to be honest. Listen, those of you who don't know, Dave's down with his family in Disney World. The kids are at the perfect age. He drove down like a jerk off. He didn't fly like I told him to. And it turns out Dave was the most crankiest one of the four. But your kids' photographs, seeing all those, the wonderment, I don't know if you realize, I mean, you do, you're there. Your kids have just totally bought it. Isn't it a shame? Like at one point it just ends that they're like, hey, Dad, I don't feel like going, it's too hot. Like, but right now they really think all of that is real. It's just awesome.
They're in peak Disney form right now. Like, we went to the character breakfast today and Miles wasn't having it at all. Like he was just like, get these guys out of my face. I don't want to see. And
he wanted to talk it over. I get it. I respect it.
And by the way, Roger, I'm not afraid to fly at all. I actually love flying. This was a suggestion by the wife to do a family experience.
Okay. By the way, Roger's a pilot for American. That's why he's talking about that.
Would I ever do it again as far as driving is concerned? Probably not. But like I said, bought in. They're having a great time.
And do you have to wear that cowboy hat in every Disney shot? Don't you have any other hat that says Chop Sports or?
What I'm actually seeing a lot of down here, and I know why. I'm seeing a lot of Eagles fans down here, and
they're the birds.
And the reason why they're down here, they're so distraught from getting destroyed the other night.
You couldn't wait.
Place on earth in my time, but that's not going to happen. So.
Okay, well, listen. Certainly the Eagles got smoked. But listen, I appreciate you coming on. You can stay on as long as you want. I don't know what your audio seems okay, not as good as from the Chop Sports studios. Obviously, we talked about Gary Sheffield, one of my favorite players, which will, of course.
But he mimicked his swing, by the way. Like this.
It's the best. It's the best. The wiggle of the bat. Come on. But, it's Patreon day here. Now, I don't even know if you want to call this a slump. This is, I feel like I'm like Carolina Panthers slump here. I'm mired at 36. I got to give a shout out to Bob Sheehan, my boy from Colonial High. I got to give a shout out to my mom. She's been very good to me lately, and I don't even know if her credit card works on this thing. But
something really funny that happened the other day. Chop Sports Media got an email, and it said you have a new Patreon member, and I'm like, oh shit, like me, like why? It was my dad. He updated his credit card. I didn't even ask. So.
Look at that. Dad's coming through. I have to actually go to I was there the other day and I forgot to go on a computer, go to Patreon. I said, Mom, give me a credit card. I wonder if they'll back pay it though for the months he hasn't been on. But I just got to give a shout out to her. Also, like I said, my boy Bob Sheen, his son goes to Rutgers now. Shout out to my sister, Mary Eileen Riccardi, getting involved. Her birthday was on Monday, and which was cool. Was it last night? Yeah, we met out for dinner Sunday, but her birthday was yesterday, December 4th. Shout out to my brother Frank, who was December 2nd. So a couple of my Patreons had birthdays here at Shea. Also, a shout out to my friend Robin Achani, who's always listening. High school good friend of mine. I haven't talked to you in a while. I do to call you. Of course, there's Roger Mayer, my personal airline pilot, who personally flew me from New York to LA many times.
Wait, real? That was, you were telling the truth?
Yeah, Roger's a pilot. Yeah, and he lives in. Yeah, he's got a summer house or a lake house in Wisconsin, so he's doing Green Bay material.
Funny, like, oh, he's a pilot pushing for a flight. Like, I didn't know he actually flew.
No, and also a shout out to Emily Fontaine getting involved. She's over at the Mason Jar Bar where I was for a couple of months. I was Gary Sheffield from there due to. Sometimes you just have words with the owner and they just, you're no longer allowed in the establishment, but the place was sold. So Jimmy Palumbo will make I've made my return to the bar because it's 5 minutes from my house. So shout out to Emily getting involved over there, bartender, manager, or whatever the hell else she's doing. Which, of course, this fine show here, starting off so smooth here. Jimmy Palumbo show, always smooth. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm a mess today. No Dave in the studio throws me off. Of course, chasingmiracles.com. Everybody, these patches. My mother was limping all over the place. She wears these patches. They make her feel better. She loves them. I use them. And it's chasingmiracles.com because you know why these patches give you shit your body needs. Check them out. They stamina, energy, muscle strengthening, the whole bit, better sleep. No needles, non-invasive. You can pee in the cup. You'll be fine. You will not be Gary Sheffield if we pee in the cup. And Roger Mayer says, we love your mom. Yes, indeed, we do. And this stuff really works. Go talk to Tommy and Donna, chasingmiracles.com. A lot of athletes use them. Serena Williams for threes. Got it. Michael Phelps, WWE celebrities, ex-SEAL team members, and also everybody else in the world. These things work. You see them on athletes. They're patches. They're very cool. Check them out. It's Chasing Miracles Stem Cell Patches, chasingmiracles.com. Energy, better sleep, and non-evasive here from the Omni. All right, well, the Giants, Giants didn't lose this weekend because they had a bye week. That's a shitty joke. I can't believe, what's great about being a Giant fan? I think this might be the best time ever to be a Giant fan. The huge quarterback controversy. Do we go with the Galamon and the cookies with the pinuli nuts, Tommy DeVito, or do we go with Tyrod Taylor? Now, Tyrod Taylor's been in the league since like 72. He's arguably one of the best backups in the league, maybe top 5. He's been around, started, right? And now he's back from injury, but the Italian stallion, Tommy DeVito, has just taken over. There's no way he starts Tyrod Taylor. What? You can't do that. You got to put in Tommy DeVito, the Guido. He's 2-0. Tommy DeVito don't lose. They got to put him in. Listen, bottom line is, best part about my cousin John sent me a text. This is hysterical to me. He just said, hey, man, Giants control their own destiny. Went out, they make the playoffs. First of all, the phrase control your own destiny and this season with the Giants should never, ever come out, which is hysterical. But they do play a lot of the teams in front of them. They do play the Eagles twice, and the Eagles suck. They already done playing the Cowboys. They got spanked there, so I don't have to play that team anymore. But we shall see. They play the Packers, who looked very tough this past week. I needed the Kansas City Chiefs, who there is no doubt in my mind. I honestly think the Eagles and the Chiefs are not going to the Super Bowl. They're not. I think it's either going to be probably Cowboys or 49ers from the NFC and somebody else. I don't know. I just think they look better when they. I don't know. The Eagles always play like weird games. They're close. And the Chiefs, to me, I don't know what the hell's going on. Look at Sam Grasso saying bothering Dave. First of all, if Dave didn't want to be on this show, he would not be on this show. He's got a little time out in the action going on there. The kids are a little post lunch outside of the pool. Are they in the room? If they're in the room, are they in the room? Let me see the kids. This is great. We're going live here on the video, which, of course, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, is a nightmare. But that's okay. I just want to see. Well, we'll try to look it on video. But meanwhile, hey, look at Miles, Jets, Jets. There's little Miles there on the video. Again, I'm just picture of Miles jumping around the couch. I love it. He's just blitzing on every down. That's great. And of course, oh, go sleep. He's going, nah. What's up, baby? It's Uncle Jimbo. Oh man, my daughter's got to see these kids. That's awesome. I love it. That's cute. There you go. The 30 seconds of fame on the Jimmy Palumbo Show. The Sturchio family getting involved there. This is like one of those Bing Crosby Christmas specials when they bring the whole family on to sing. Anybody gets that, text me. I'll give you $1. All right. Well, listen, Eagles lost. I got to tell you something, and you're going to hate this day. Now, I'm back to get off my lawn, guy. Every game, bro, penalties. It's to the point now. It's to the point where like the player, wide receiver, drops a ball and he looks back. And the quarterback look. And every game, the last 2 minutes, it used to be the last 2 minutes took a long time. Timeout, stepping out of bounds. Now it's all. And then I think was it last night or the day? I don't even know. They did a review on a play. It took like 11 minutes. Even Troy Aikman was like, "Hey guys, what are you doing?"
That was last night Bengals game. Yeah, he's like, "All right, fellas, let's go." You know,
I mean, come on. It's just they got to do something. They have to either. To me, it's like, you know what? Or if I was the NFL referee, I said, guys, you know what? Why don't you make pass interference legal, and then we don't have to do this anymore? So that way, guys are just. And then when no one has a neck, then we go from there. It just takes too long. It sucks. Nobody over 40 has to can disagree with me. There's too many penalties.
No, what I'm thinking is anybody who's watching the game for the first time, if like you're a new NFL fan and you're trying to get into the game and you watch like the Cowboys game from the other night or the Chiefs game the other night, like they're looking at it like, oh, so every play there's a flag and it depends on who it's against. So like, you know what I mean? Like you're actually expecting it now if you're like a new fan. Like for us old school fans, it's like, dude, this is unwatchable.
It is. I mean, I know. Listen, usually, and listen, your Cowboys are rolling right now, so you're enjoying the game. But usually, when your team really sucks, you notice it more because you're not watching. You watch your team, and they're lose, and then you switch around. You go to, and all of a sudden you watch it like the Bengal game last night. What was I watching that for about 10 minutes? And then even at the game-winning field goal, there was a flag on the play. It usually should have been like. Bad play on the other team. The kick is good. No, the referees, like, they got together. There's players walking by the referee, shaking hands, high-fiving, and the referees are like, oh, so what's the – like, why even – it wasn't on the team that won he kicked the winning field. Like, get off the field. I can't stand it. It's awful.
The worst thing, though, I think might be even worse than the penalties themselves. The ones where they throw the flag and they pick it up. Like,
Yeah, what is that? You know what does the other guy come over and go? Nah, dude, he had him beat. The bad throw. You know, I think NFL refs should be mic'd the whole game, the whole game, just to hear the little like. I think everybody. You know what? I want transparency. I want every lineman and having like a tape delay so there's no cursing or something. And just the holding the key. Anyway, and I don't. You know what? Actually, the holding calls I'm actually okay with because it's just holding back 10 yards. You know it right away. How about this free play, but it's not a free play because he jumped back and what the whole thing is complete shit. Anyway, that's that. The flag thing makes okay. Now the Rutgers make Scarlet Knights 6-6. They're going to a huge bowl. Listen, when you go 6-2 and finish 6-6, you are going to a big bowl game. The Pinstripe Bowl in the Bronx at Yankee Stadium. I think it's called the Bad Boy Mower Jerk Off. Everybody's an asshole bowl. It's against Miami Hurricanes, which I learned this morning. You know, Miami's 1-11 in their last 1-10 in their last bowls because the Canes don't care about these bowls. If they're not playing for the national championship, they don't care. All the really good teams that are like shaky, like the Hurricanes, Florida, the teams where guys like, oh man, where are we going? I'm not playing that game. But you know what's actually not a bad game for Rutgers. Miami's way better. We'll probably get smoked. Which brings me to this transfer portal thing. Wow. It's
getting busy.
It's crazy now. Good players are leaving. McCord on Ohio State. Rutgers has no money for NIL. It's really free agency. And if you don't care where you play and you're maybe going to the NFL anyway, you just say, all right, Dad, take the calls. Whoever's paying me the most, that's where I'm going. They totally got to change that. So it's awful. And even Rutgers got guys coming and going. Some of the guys suck. Good riddance. They'll end up at Delaware Valley State. Some of them, though, are pretty good. Some of them, you don't know what's going on. I think you can come back from the portal. So what do you say to your coach? And can you play in the bowl game? And who cares about these other bowl games? And a complete disaster. I hate it. Which brings us to the big travesty this year. The NFL, the NCAA Final Four, the championship series. Listen, if you go, I think Florida State got screwed, and I'll tell you why. Can't go by injuries. A guy can get injured the day before the game. And you know what? I love the thing. Going undefeated it's got to be a tiebreaker. Like, I don't know, which way should we go? Oh, well, they didn't lose a game and they're in the Power Five, you go. Okay. If Rutgers was 12-0, I'd be like, oh, they got to go. Florida State, I know the quarterback's down. They're 3-0 without the guy, and the second string will be able to play in the game. I just think nothing against Alabama. You can't go by, well, Alabama's probably better, and maybe they are. Okay, I can make the argument that Ohio State should be like in there too. If you're going to go by who's better, like I think Ohio State's better than Washington.
Did you see?
You know what I mean?
Did you see the amount of things that I think there was either a senator of Florida or somebody. They want like full transparency. Like they want text message threads. They want everything involved as to why Florida State was not let in. I mean, to me, that's a travesty. You don't go undefeated, win your conference championship game, and then just get left in the dark because everybody loves Nick Saban. Like that's basically what it was. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they lost the game. I understand, but I don't know. It's weird.
I think it stinks. And also, like, as like a Rutgers fan, not that we'll ever, Rutgers is never going to go 12-0, but like, it's nice to know, like, hey, you know what? If we run the table, we're in. But of course now next year I think it's 12. But I
6 or maybe 8, but I don't know. I forget.
Whatever it is. Now, once they go to 8 or 12, whatever the hell it is, I am going to announce this now on the Jimmy Palumbo show. Okay. I love the argument between 4 and 5, who gets in. We could talk about that this year. But once they go to like 12, let's say they go to 12, here's the argument I do not want to hear on any sports talk. Well, the 13th team, Boise State was 13. And you know what? When you're 13, you know what you are? You stink. I don't want to hear about like, well, LSU lost 3 games, but we lost to Georgia, and we lost to Alabama, and we lost to Ohio State. We only lost. No, you lost 3 times. You can't play anymore. You're out. Goodbye. You don't play anymore. We're going to be in this same argument about the 18th team should it be? No, you're 18th. You stink. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. It should be just like, yeah, we were 13th. We didn't get in top 12. Like, that's all. Good night. See you at the shitty Pinstripe Bowl. I don't want to hear this argument about, because I think eventually there's going to be it's going to be 78 teams in the in this NCAA thing. They're going to start like October 8th. It's going to be like NBA. Oh, this is part of the championship series. And they're going to have different shitty paint on the turf. Although this means it's a NCAA championship game, which, by the way, please, this whole Nick thing, they play in Milwaukee tonight, the shitty courts. Who likes this? Who likes this? I don't get. My nephew said he went to one of the games. He goes, Uncle Jim, when you're sitting there inside the arena, you don't really notice the court. I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, don't you know what the Garden Court looks like? It's a court. It's the parquet floor, the Boston Garden. Oh my God. No. I don't even like the shitty net arena with that gray crap. What is that? It looks like Peggy Fleming should be skating on it. I just said Peggy Fleming. Robin Achani just probably fell off her chair right now. It's just awful. Anyway, so that annoyed the shit out of me. So you can tell I'm in a highly agitated mood. I gotta start on my decorations here. I didn't finish it. There's shit going on. I'm running all over the place. But speaking of shit, it's perfect time to bring on your friend and mine. Now, what are we calling this segment now? A Moment with Steve?
Roman's Rundown. Why can't you get...
Because I don't know, but you know why? Because it's my show, and I didn't come up with it. That's all. I'm even losing my. You know what? I am the Florida State of the Jimmy Palumbo show. Like, I may not get in. Like next year, I may not host a Jimmy Palumbo. I can easily, like Gucci could come back and you're doing my show. Chris and Dave doing the Jimmy Palumbo show might be the funniest thing I've said in 2 years. All right, we're gonna bring on your friend and mine. Look at him; he looks so sad coming on, like he's upset. Your friend and mine, a guy who nobody knows who the hell he is. I met him because I went for a cocktail in Austin, Texas. Here he is. Mr. Steve Roman. Steve, how we doing?
Good, fellas. How are you? What's going on?
Just trying to do podcasting here.
Yeah, doing a great job. Dave, thank you very much. Sorry for a little bit of starting Jimmy's shit off shittier than I'm glad I could enhance the shitness and the way he feels. He's agitated. Not a Christmas decoration in sight. But anyway, the kids look beautiful. Hope you're having a great time down in Florida.
A lot of fun.
By the way, Steve, by kissing his ass doesn't mean you get on the show every week.
Listen, I'm
because every now and then, and Dave knows, every now and then Jimmy Palumbo comes in, and like all of a sudden I'm like, I'm like, I could be like a young Nick Saban and get rid of everybody, do the fucking show by myself in my bathroom.
I know. I checked. I understand. I appreciate it. But yeah, I was listening to you guys. I got to tell you, I was absolutely furious last night. I went to my daughter's junior varsity basketball game. She's a good athlete, and they were playing a tough team. And about 40 people in the crowd. Again, JV, not even a varsity game. So my daughter plays underneath. She plays a big. She's a power forward. Not a great player.
Power forward out of Long Island.
Yeah, no, decent player, good player.
Roman
6 points,
inside,
6
good.
rebounds, couple blocks. Decent player. But she was underneath. She was underneath fighting for a ball. She's a tough kid. And grabbed the rebound a la Barkley style. Threw the kid on the floor because they were coming down together. You guys would have saw it. I believe you would have said, tough kid. Looked like a pretty clean play. Other kid was a big kid. Now I have a parent coming from the other team onto the fucking court, fellas, live in the middle of the game, screaming.
JV game.
JV game. The kids are about 15, 16, screaming at the referee and the injustice that was going on with, and was sort of pointing out my daughter and the rough play and what's going. I said to myself, what now? Security comes in, school security. They're babying this mom. It's okay. They're trying to escort her off the court. Now, I believe in our day, Jimmy, if our parent, first of all, I would have got my ass kicked for not knocking the kid down and then kicking him in the face. My father would have said, couldn't you be a little tougher, you big faggot? I would have said, Dad, come on. No. I said,
Steve,
my dad's uncle, we are very prone. We love
Can't
people.
use the word. Can't use that.
My brother is a good.
You can't use the word that rhymes with maggot in today's society.
But old school, fellas, we're going back in time.
You could say gay, feminine.
Yes. So my dad would have said, you were gay. You did not handle it appropriately as a power forward. So things were different. The parenting, Jimmy, my point is the parenting. We are raising kids today. Can I say the word? They're not tough.
Okay,
they're not.
Okay.
They're just guys. Right. Everyone, listen. I made it. All right, grow up. Here we go. All right. So now, when you're raising a child, everyone does not get a trophy. I saw the pictures of you, Jimmy, with your daughter at the game, at the Rutgers game, and I thought, that's a good dad, building camaraderie with his daughter. Your daughter's what, 16?
14.
14. So even worse, you got to deal with bullshit. But you deal with the bullshit and you know how to tell her the answer is no. Dave isn't that far along yet. So he's
Steve, my entire while I've been here for 3 days, I do not know how to tell my kids no yet.
No.
That is
Listen, Dave, my daughter's 14. You know what? Telling my daughter no, I'm like a bad free throw team. That's what I am.
So
like,
you
very
guys-
tough inside. Daddy, can we do this? Yes. In and out.
See, I have strings attached. You can meet certain requirements to get things from me, but predominantly, I feel our kids are very spoiled. They are entitled. They have everything we didn't have. These phones are $1,000 quarterly to have. They just have them and operate their lives. You and I had to knock on a door, go see a friend. These kids feel it's foreign.
Like you would never buy AirPods to do this show. I understand.
I'm buying a nice set that comes in.
And
I'm
Palumbo
getting
is setting the world on fire as he falls into the Roman bench.
Let me tell you. So if you're the parenting and they don't understand why the kid is the way they are. Now, if you're not implementing structure and discipline, along with what you guys are doing with the love and being involved and everything else, we're producing a child today that's really very shallow, hollow. Have you been out to a restaurant with a family of 4? Have you seen them at a dinner table? Do you see is there any intimacy there? What are they doing?
They're all on their phones.
They're all on their phones. There's no intimacy. In education, I say to my kids, which is so foreign, I say to my kids as an educator, listen, when you leave, I don't want to hear that you hate your science
but you know what?
teacher.
Sometimes when I'm at a restaurant, like Dave and I are on our phones. I know Dave was glued to his phone in Disney World watching the Eagles get their ass kicked to the point where Miles was like, Ma, Dad's just not paying attention. He's watching the Eagle game. There was nothing he could do there.
You have to take your attention span into consideration, Jimmy. That has to be taken into consideration. Your attention span. You're on the phone with Dave. You're lost. You guys aren't even connected at that point. I mean, you're like looking at each other over the pasta fagioli, like you schmucks. Where's Steve? And I'm in the toilet. But
that's it. I know.
I
feel like you're doing this podcast right now from the toilet.
I am.
But thank God I see Christmas lights in the very nice Christmas lights in the background, by the way.
You like those?
Yes. So now, how do you feel? Are you going to go with Tommy DeVito or Tyrod Taylor this Monday?
Did you guys happen to see Dexter Lawrence's fundraiser last night?
No.
He had a great fundraiser. You should have. Wait a minute, Jimmy. You should have saw Dexter Lawrence with Tommy DeVito in the conversation. Now you have a giant, big black gentleman who's fantastic, probably one of the best linemen in the league, right? And then you have this John Travolta, Saturday night, the chains. He had 3, Dave. He had 3, and the Italian horn.
I got DeVito as the 8th best quarterback in the league. He's at 8 right now for me.
The fundraising.
Like Dak Prescott's 7, so just a nudge above.
Do yourself a favor, take that clip.
Let me tell you what's great about Tommy DeVito, and Dave's going to agree with this in a sick way. If you hate the Giants, right, or you're a big fan of the Cowboys, Eagles, whatever it is, and you're from New Jersey, even though you're like, fuck the Giants, I don't mind that guy DeVito. Like every Jersey guy, even if you don't like the Giants, is like, I kind of like that guy too. It's like nobody hates him.
What is that? The Jersey Shore? I mean, they could bring it back with him after he finishes this year and they get rid of him. He could start his own little show down there in Jersey.
Does anybody want to see Daniel Jones come back now? What's he going to take him to?
Let's get rid of him too.
Bold statement that Daniel Jones is not going to be ready and Tommy DeVito is going to be your starting quarterback, Dave.
Well, you know me. I said he's going to be the story of the year as he blows out the Packers on Monday night. I'm thinking about going to the game just to see him play.
Gooch, I was talking to him last night. Gooch is feeling very good about his Packers right now.
Oh, they look good. Packers look good. So now, have you watched, Steve, have you watched any of these Knick games?
Yeah, I can't believe it's hard to really watch because you feel like you're on acid looking at the floor. I can't even find the ball. I mean, the color is so. I thought it was me. I'm like, dude, are you that antiquated? I mean, the sneakers are one thing. I get the sneakers. Your uniform's green. You're wearing a bright pink. I could sort of see the sneaker realm. I just have a hard time with the floor. I can't even really follow the ball. Like sometimes I lose it. It's like, where did it go for a minute? I mean,
do you have a favorite college team in football?
Yeah, I like Florida Atlantic University. That's where I went to college. So to me, they were a small school, but that's who
they're pretty good in basketball.
They had a good run in basketball. They sent a couple guys to the NFL recently.
So you're a Florida Atlantic guy.
I'm an owl.
I shot my commercial with Peyton Manning right next to at a Denny's near Florida Atlantic University.
In Boca.
Little tidbit. I don't know what else.
Well, that's where the school is.
So I laughed at that. I'm like, oh, what school's around here? Florida Atlantic. As I was when I shot that commercial, I actually was in a shitty Denny's, a filthy, covered in grease from head to toe in the back, slipping and sliding all over the place.
I'm sure I frequented that place.
That's what the guy told me. Like, he said between Saturday night and Sunday morning, we go through 12,000 eggs or something like that. I was like,
that's
what?
Crazy.
Talk about getting involved here from a Denny's from downtown. All right. Well, of course, you know as well as I do that. Listen, Steve, you have trouble with your cornhole. Well documented. Even some of the fans in P-Town are aware. And if you have something wrong with your cornhole, you need to go to cornholelevel.com. That's because you can get right here a cornhole leveler. That's right. Look at the video here. It's got the little Scarlet McKnight thing. You put it on, it makes it to and fro. Now, Steve, you're the kind of guy, if you showed up at a barbecue and someone had cornhole boards and they weren't leveled right, you would freak out.
That would bother me.
Yeah, you got to hand them this cornhole levelers. They're 20% off. If you mention JP Show, Dave has them in his car. He's got them in Florida with him. His wife carries them in his pocketbook. I mean, Miles is hanging one on the back of his shirt just to make sure he's level going on to the rides there.
It keeps your sacks going in smooth.
Yes, it just is so many uses. I mean, it dices, it slices, it even, you know what? I think it even makes julienne fries. That's another great thing right there, if you know what I'm talking about.
Wow.
The Ginsu, and they are the sponsor. So go to cornholelevel.com for the holiday. Perfect. You can still get them in time for your stocking stuffer. Owned, of course, by Mike Caprio, my second baseman. And he sponsors cornholelevel.com, the world famous now. I mean, it's unbelievable. Tommy DeVito's NFL Stinks List, sponsored by cornholelevel.com. Another interesting NFL Stinks List. I got the Miami Dolphins. Shecky's happy at very good. Buffalo Bills average. Jets stink. Patriots stink. Oh, dear God. They're awful. Ravens, very good. Pittsburgh Steelers average. My buddy Tommy went to the game. Delays, lightning. He was with his family. Nightmare. Cleveland Browns stink. The Bengals are average. They have no quarterback now. What a mess over there. Jacksonville Jaguars are only good. I don't know what's going on. Anything with Lawrence? Any word this morning?
High ankle sprain. He'll be out for a couple of weeks.
Oh, thank God. It was really cool to watch. I switched over to, by the way, when you don't care about your team, the Manning show is just, I think it's like, if you're not watching your team, you have to watch the Manning version of it because they really, I think it's silly sometimes, but they really, these are there's 45 years of NFL experience quarterbacking between them. And you can tell when even Peyton, when he, with the injury, he was like, oh man, I hope he's all right. Like, because he knows like, oh, that sucks. And it sucks for the team. You lose your quarterback. I think that show they should do it it's awesome.
Did you see it, Dave?
Last night's Manning cast?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, the injury looked nasty. I thought it was going to be way worse.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead, Jimmy.
All right. So Jacksonville Jaguars are good. I think they were very good last week. I'm not even sure. Indianapolis Colts average. Houston Texans for the first time are good here at Shea. Tennessee Titans stink. Now listen, Kansas City Chiefs, they are good until further notice. God, that team, they just get too cute. They're good. One more loss, I'm going to put them in average. Denver Broncos average. Hey, listen, the LA Chargers, how much do you stink? You beat the Patriots 6-0, you stink. The Vegas Raiders, you stink too, only because they just stink. That's the Vegas Raiders stink to me is a classic stink because you stink. All right, Philadelphia Eagles. Sorry, got to bring you down to just good at 10-2 because you got smoked. I think the Giants played the 49ers better than the Eagles did. You can make that argument. And coming in at very good since week 3, your Dallas Cowboys. I've been saying it all year. I can't stand the Cowboys. Their wide receivers are open on every play. I still don't think Dak Prescott's all that good. If I was quarterbacking the Dallas Cowboys, I'd be like, CD, just go down to the right and what's his name? Cook, whatever his name is, you go to the left and I'm just going to throw you away and you're open anyway. They're open on every play. It's a huge thing. Their defense is interesting. I thought they'd be better than they are. To me, I think Dave's going to hate me for this. I think the Cowboys are very good. I think the receivers are just too much. I think Micah Parsons gets lost now. I thought I was going to hear his name more than he does, but I guess he's putting pressure on the quarterback. But I don't know.
He's the league in pressures. I mean, that's the thing with the Cowboys. Like DeMarcus Lawrence, you don't hear him a lot, but he's stopping the run. He's causing double.
No, I'm not saying he's having a shitty year. I don't mean that. I just think like the Lawrence Taylor talk went away. That's all I'm saying. And he's not going to be defensive MVP and all that stuff. He's just he's playing like if Thibodeau was on the Giants, the Cowboys, they'd be almost the same player. I'm only kidding about that. So all right, so the Giants, I got them as average. Why? Because they didn't play, and I kept them at average. I knew that, so the Giants get 2 weeks of being average. And we'll see what happens.
That's ridiculous.
The Commanders stink. Keep in mind, the Giants' playoff hopes are alive and well. They play all the teams that are in front of them. They play the Eagles, who are on their way down as the Cowboys head for the division lead. And every Cowboy fan loves the Giants because the Cowboys beat the Eagles. And if the Giants beat them twice, Cowboys win the division, which would be funny. Giants play the Packers. Monday night should be fun. But the Detroit Lions at 9-3 are very good. The Vikings are average. Green Bay Packers finally get up to good after being stink and average all year. Chicago Bears stink. The Atlanta Falcons, my God, you barely beat the Jets. You stink. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you barely beat the Panthers, so you stink. The Saints stink and the Panthers stink. So everybody stinks over there. San Francisco 49ers, you smoked the Eagles like that. Got to give you the VG. Very good. Rams are average. Seahawks are average. And, of course, Arizona Cardinals, who really had 4 quarters and a half against the Giants of quality football. You guys stink. So that's it. 13 stinks, 9 average, 5 good, and 5 very goods. The most very goods we've had in quite a long time. So we shall see what happens there. That's fun. Now, I had a lot of crazy stuff happen this week. We had the show earlier on Monday. I shot a commercial in a town called Media, Pennsylvania.
How to get the mug.
Take a sip. How to get the plug. I shot this commercial. I didn't say what the name of the commercial is because
the product doesn't exist.
No, I don't know. It does. And you know it too.
I thought it was the cornhole extender.
No, it should be.
I know. Well,
but I would love to do a commercial for cornhole.
The extender, the reach around, extender.
The reach around,
hey, all right.
Hey, God bless. Here we go. And Steve Roman tried. Okay. Steve Roman trails by 13. Tried. There's a minute and a half left.
Still trying to bust
the
breakthrough.
So I shot this commercial. I had a blast. They put me up in a hotel down there. This town of Media, Pennsylvania is the cutest, like Norman Rockwell town I've ever seen. It's like 20 miles outside of Philly.
That's your second maybe. Norman Rockwell quote in 2 weeks, right? I'm waiting for a painting. Oh, it's so warm and fuzzy. Okay, so tell me, would you get a lolly there? A nice hot chocolate? Great? Would you get all whipped creamed up over there?
See that? You know what's great, Steve? During your moment with Steve, you were 1 for 9 for 28 yards. And then when I'm talking, all of a sudden, you know what you are, Steve? You're a practice player. That you're very good during the week.
Hey,
you know the playbook.
It's a start. There's a lot of practice players. 4 jet quarterbacks. I could be the 5th.
one thing about Steve, he manages the game really well. You know what I mean? He knows the playbook.
Figuring
Anyway,
it out.
go check out Media Pennsylvania. Very cool. The cast and crew were awesome. I had a good time with my commercial TV wife. She was a doll. She was cool. I met a bunch of other people on the set. The makeup girl was a friend of my cousin Michael's from 25 years ago, doing makeup that long ago. They just treated me like I was De Niro, or I can't even say De Niro anymore. They treated me like I was a star, which was great, even though I'm not. And it was a really good time. But this town of media, man. First of all, I walked into a store. They're so friendly. Like, hey, how are you? And like, oh, you looking for something for your daughter? Yeah. Like, and they were like walking around. I ended up at a bar. I went to this little Irish bar, little shitty pub. Sat there. The owner of the huge restaurant next door that has nothing. The competitors
Was
is
hanging out at the pub.
hanging at the pub, saying, "Oh, I own a steakhouse. If you're here for a couple of days, come to my steakhouse. It's great." But he goes, "Nah, the food in here." He's like, "The food in here is great. I eat here all the time." I'm like, "How great is this guy? He owns a steakhouse, but he eats at the pub that is 10 feet away." I went into a ice cream shop that had vinyl records, and the guy was friendly there. I met this guy, Mike Montgomery, who was a cop in town. It was like, he was like, "Hey, anytime, here's my PBA card. Let me know. What are you shooting here?" Yeah, of course. And then all of a sudden he was like, "Wait a minute, you're the guy from Beer League?" He was calling his buddies that were cops. "I got the guy from Beer League at the bar here." And I walked to the shops, couldn't have been nicer. What a cool little town. I visited this bed and breakfast just to go check it out in case I ever want to go down there again. And it was an old school Victorian house. The guy came out. He looked like he started watching The Dead in 1968, and he ended up here. Could have been nicer. Showed me all the rooms. I just had an awesome time. The other thing is I had two huge auditions, bro, on Sunday. Two big ones. Self-taped. For me, they're like game changers. I don't want to go into detail like some of these people do on Facebook. Look, I just went for a major national network. I just call them. I had two huge auditions. I'm thrilled to death to get them because, as you get older, anytime you get in the game, Palumbo checks in at the 6:05 mark here. Short jumper, yes, and a count. You just want to, I hope they went well. Shout out to my buddy Dave DeLisi, who totally helped me record these. One of them, I will, once, if I strike out, I will explain. If I get it, I'll talk about it. If I don't get it, I'll talk about exactly what it was. And it'll make sense to people that have followed my career over the years, especially my sketch comedy career. Really interesting shit going on there. But it was nice to be auditioning for big stuff. And as a matter of fact, when you're auditioning for big stuff, you must go to Absolute Eyewear. Getting involved here. 42 Main Street, Woodbridge, New Jersey, 732-326-3937. Big shout out to Janine Mashaud. She's been with me from the very beginning. She was kind of traded to Chop Sports there. And of course, when she enters the Hall of Fame of sponsors, she'll be wearing a Jimmy Palumbo Show hat. That's how it'll be. That's a joke. It's funny to four people. Chris Gucci's laughing out loud if he hears that. But a big shout out to Jay Bird and Craig and Johnine, family-owned opticians, full-service optical, prescription eyewear, prescription sunglasses, 42 Main Street, down by the train station by the Woodbridge Brewery, where LT hangs out every other day.
See, Johnny, she met Tino Martinez, bro.
Yeah, it's like Tino's are like, she was in love with him for years. They're open 5 days a week. You get $100 off a complete pair of prescription eyeglasses when you mention Jimmy Palumbo, Dave Sturcio, Chop. There's like 11 things you can mention to get a discount of it. But of course, they have Ray-Ban, Coach, Ralph Lauren, Dave Sturcio's Jimmy Choo, Silhouette, Michael Kors Light, Vogue, Maui Jim, Costa Del Mar, and Charles Oakley still shops in the store with his kids. It's the funniest joke of all time for me. Go check them out. They're great. They're open 5 days a week. Why are they closed on Wednesdays, Dave?
To play a little softball and lose a bunch of games.
Okay, and why are they closed on Sunday?
To watch Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito. Johnny loves him. Everybody loves him. I love it. It's now the Tommy. I'm going to change the name of the show to Jimmy Palumbo and the Tommy. We got to get him on the show. He'll definitely do this show. Nobody knows who he is. Especially, you know what? I'm going to get him on the show if he doesn't start Sunday. Like, hey, Tommy, you must be real bummed out. If you're really sad you're not starting, come on my show. Anyway, go to Absolute Eyewear. They're simply the best, best ever. I had fun. I was doing something and I stopped in. There's a bar in Ramsey called Varka, where it's really a 5-star restaurant. People come from all over. It's got like Greek seafood stuff. They got a cool little bar. I ended up going to the bar. I said, you know, I'm going to have one drink. And it's one of those, you know, $16 for a Chardonnay kind of places. But I ended up having a blast. I met a bunch of fun people there, just happened randomly sitting to my left and right. Of course, there's always one guy who knew.
Time out. So you met more people at a bar. Are they going to want to also be on the show and do a podcast?
Yeah. Well, what I'm doing, everybody I meet ends up on the show. Steve, you should know about that. But a big shout out to Emily and Lauren who are there. Lauren actually does some fashion stuff and wardrobe things on sets and stuff. So that was kind of cool. And so we had fun doing that. We met a couple of guys and it was just a good time hanging out. And then I decided, after a good night on Wednesday for a couple hours, I said, you know what? There's a big city near me, New York City. There's a big voiceover Christmas party. I'm going to head in. Jimmy Palumbo, veteran voiceover guy. Now, I thought it was the voiceover party that I always go to this time of year. Turns out I read the Facebook post wrong. My buddy Jeff Cantor, who's an established actor, he was going in. So I thought we were going to this thing called the Grog, which is a bunch of voiceover people go and hang out. And I noticed that usually it's on 23rd Street at a cool bar, but this was in the middle of Midtown. So Jimmy Palumbo decides, you know what? The first Saturday night, the tree is up, Radio City. Yeah, good time to drive into New York City, right? Okay. So I get stuck in massive traffic. I end up getting off the West Side Highway on 79th Street. The bar is on 48th. I go into a garage, $55 to park. And I'm like, all right, okay, I paid tolls. Now $55 to start this one. Then, this is how stupid Jimmy Palumbo can be. I walked up to Broadway and I'm like, you know what? I'll just hop in a cab. So I parked the car to get into another car. We went 8 blocks, traffic. I said, you got to let me out of here. That was $10. So now I'm down $65. I haven't had, I didn't have a vodka yet. I get on the subway. I thought I had one of my Metro cards. No. So I had to buy another $10 Metro card. I'm down $75. I have not had a Tito's on the rocks.
So at this point, you called your mother, I'm sure.
I was ready to.
Mom,
I was ready to call my. I was ready to call. Say, Ma, get me home. Take me home now.
Right.
So yeah, Johnny Kelly coming in sharp as a marble. Right. So now I'm getting on the subway in New York City, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, the subways! You die every second there." I get in the subway. I end up getting off at 50th. The New York City was rocking on Saturday. I started to feel good. I was all dressed up, I had the black slacks on. Oh, Jimmy Palumbo getting involved here from the Army. I go into this bar, Hurley's on 48th. Big, one of those 3-story pubs, that have 7,000 people eating. It's like a diner with an Irish name on the outside of it. And and the party was on the 3rd floor. I go all the way up to this 3rd floor. The place is packed. Okay. I don't know a soul in there. Not one human being, not anybody. Look at that little girl, Dave Sturchill's daughter, peeking her head out, getting involved. I love that. She's got the jet cheer going. And I feel bad for Miles. Rough year for Miles with the Jets. So I go to this bar. Now I can't get a drink at the bar. The bartender was slow as shit. It was one bartender for 8,000 people. So I just ordered a Tito's on the rocks, made it a double. So next thing you know, he goes, just give me $20. I give the guy 20. I think he put it in his pocket. I'm looking around. I'm like, oh my God, there's no one here that I know. Not a single soul, as Dave Sturcho jumps out. So I then start chatting with this woman next to me. How's it going? She goes, how you doing? How's the voiceover going? I'm like, I've been in the league a while. It's been a little slow. Now, I gave her the non-union work more, She's like, oh, I just got my demo reel done. I said, oh, that's cool. I said, how long you been doing this? She goes, 3 months. Turns out this meeting was for like rookies in showbiz. Like,
wow.
Like no one had. Now I'm not saying I'm above that,
right.
But I went all the way into the city figuring I was going to meet some some actors that I know, some casting
Right.
people that I know, some producers.
Right.
Instead, this was like one of those, like she
Free-for-alls
flew in
almost.
from Texas.
Wow.
And she's never even auditioned for anything yet.
Right.
And everybody else was like, "Oh yeah, I'm from Detroit." It was almost like, what do you call those meet and greets to like she was there to meet me.
Right.
And I'm like, I had nothing to say.
Wow.
And then I realized, what am I doing here, Jimmy? I just spent, and of course I had to get 2 drinks. So I'm down $105. So I just went down to the bottom bar and I was so frustrated. Like, Jimmy, what are you doing? You can't be affording and blowing money at, a bad event like that. I was so mad at reading it wrong. My buddy Jeff Cantor showed up. I made him meet me there. And I go down to the bar downstairs and I'm giving a shout out to this guy. He's wearing a Michigan shirt and his name was Mitts Lee, Mitts, kind of a weird first name, Mitts. He's sitting there with a Michigan shirt on, and I started to love this guy because his son bought his wife tickets to a Broadway show, but he didn't want to go to the show. So he's like, they flew in from like Detroit or Michigan area. He said, "Honey, you go in, to take my daughter. You go in there. I'm going to just go drink at the bar while you're at a Broadway show." I was like, "You're a stud. What a great move by him."
Fantastic move.
Right. You know what I mean?
I mean,
he goes,
to
"I got
have the balls to do that, and his
yeah."
wife's
He's like,
"Great."
"No."
That's
He literally
awesome.
He was like, "No, I had a good time. I had dinner with my wife, my daughter, and my son. My son works on Wall Street. He's doing well." And they went to go see some show I had no interest in. And he was watching the Georgia Alabama game.
Right.
He had a Michigan shirt on, but he went to Michigan State. His son went to Michigan. So I was busting his balls about how Rutgers beats Michigan State all the time.
That's funny.
We ended up meanwhile, showbiz didn't come up until I started asking him. And he lives up in northern Michigan, way at the top of Lake. I actually looked it up on Google. I'm like, wow, it's kind of far from Chicago, Detroit. He was telling me how beautiful it is this time of year up there. And I'm like, he goes, "Jimmy, you should really, Lake Michigan is almost like in the summertime. It's just gorgeous." And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make one of these bucket list trip, Media, Pennsylvania. And I forget the name of this town he's in. Wait, I got it right here. Of course I do. He's from Charlevoix, Michigan. If anybody knows about that, maybe Roger Mayer does.
It's funny, Jimmy. One of the shithead cousins of mine that you met has a house in Michigan in that area, and they were telling me to, come out and hang out.
Dude, it looks.
They said
he was
gorgeous,
telling me,
gorgeous.
Yeah, he was really telling me, and I looked it up. Look it up online. Charlevoix.
He has
Michigan.
his places right on the lake, and he has a boat, and they go and they tube. He says it's awesome. It's really cool.
Everybody, I totally get it. He was a really nice guy, and it was just funny talking to a stranger. And we talked about the games going on, and it was a good time. And then my buddy Jeff came down from upstairs, and he was half in the bag, and I had to get him out of there. But it was a expensive, dumb night. But I sent him an email saying, "Hey, buddy, I didn't forget about you. How you doing? Blah, blah, blah." And he also knows a lot about real estate and Airbnbs in the area. So maybe one year I'll grab my daughter. We'll go up to northern Michigan. I asked him how cold it was in the winter, and he goes, "Ooh, he said it gets a little nippy up there." Now, when a guy from northern Michigan says it gets a little nippy, you and I,
that's Alaska. That's tundra.
Yeah,
we're doomed.
So
we're doomed.
He kind of made it clear more. He goes, the June, July, and August areas.
That's when you want to go. Yeah, stay out of that.
Big shout out to the Mason Jar Bar and Grill, which is not reopening, is new owners. I used to bartend there. I can now return, and I will be there to say hello to Emily Fontaine, the new manager and bartender. She was sweet when I worked there. She felt bad when I had words with the owner. So I figured I'd give a shout out to the Mason Jar. And I also I'll briefly, the Christmas decoration thing. I started off so good. I got everything up into the living room. I was on fire. I was getting it done. And then I got the train track going for my daughter, which is a tradition. I set up the creche, the manger that my dad built. My dad built a manger and a creche thing for all 3 of his kids. And also for all of his grandchildren, all 6.
Wow.
So it's a tradition when you put it up. I always feel bad when I set it up. I miss my dad. And but I set it up. I got some old ornaments and I put it up. So I got the tree up, but like there's so much other stuff that's got to be done. And now the place, like, the theory, I don't know if you remember your mother or father telling you this, like, well, let's just get everything done. Then we'll vacuum and clean up. No sense cleaning. And
right.
But
100%.
I thought, let's get everything done. Then we, right?
Yeah,
You know what happens
yes.
though? That's good when you get everything done in a day and a half. I'm on day 5. The place looks like a Sodom and Gomorrah here. It is shit all over the floor, little sparkles, little bits of the tree are on the floor. It's like, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get it done when I'll be vacuuming on December like 28th.
I'm in the same boat. It's the same way. It's like without my wife picking up the rear and finishing and making sure everything's. I'm in the same boat as you. I wish I could say I wasn't, but it's like it's a pain in the ass. And then my wife's like a machine. She's getting it done in a day and a half, like my parents would. And I'm concocting around with the snowman, and she's like, "What are you doing? It's 2 days, and you're still putzing with that."
I know. I got to decorate I'm in a new place. I got to decorate the little deck off the condo, and I've been watching other people. So that now, of course, I waited to the 2 coldest days. So I will try to do that this afternoon. And, but that's my situation there. Of course, a couple of shout outs to people following me here on the chat. Joe Cinecor. Yes. If I do book this gig, I will have time for the podcast. I just may not be able to do it every Tuesday, but I assure you, if I've done 142 straight weeks, I can do. Can you believe that? I've been doing this 142 times.
That's awesome.
And I probably repeated myself 7,000 times, but that's what Artie Lang did. He made $3 million a year.
That's all right. Fantastic.
Of course, Joey Pizzello wants to talk about the ass and Long Island iced teas at Leggett's. Now, first of all, Joey, you didn't get any ass at Leggett's. Number 2, the Long Island iced teas, you don't get them at Leggett's. You get them at DJ's, okay? This is how it works. You go to DJ's at like 3 o'clock. You drink Long Island iced teas. You get all banged up. And then you come out of there. It's still bright. You grab a slice of pizza at the shitty pizzeria attached to DJ's. Then you go bust it into Leggett's with your crowd. You got to have your whole house. You can't go to DJ's with 2 guys. You got to go with like 12 people. You come barreling into Leggett's and you're like crazy animals and you're jumping around and then you just drink and party at Leggett's and that's what you do. But those 2 bars, I spent a lot of time in both bars. Every now and then we go to the Osprey. Early on in my career I call it a career down the shore. We went to a Bar A lot, and there was also Key Largo. My rookie year, we went to a lot. But DJ's was always a staple until it just got too Guido. Like DJ's is almost too Guido for Tommy DeVito. That's how Guido this joint.
That's a problem.
Yeah, but you would. It's a blast.
It's a blast.
Now the last time I went to DJ's, I went in for like 40 minutes, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I sat in the corners by myself. What a jerk off! I drove from my brother's house on a bike. Locked it up on the side, went inside. Just let me see. You know what it was? Let me see what the kids are doing now. You know what I mean? And the loud music. But I said, man, it's a fun bar. Even though I'm old and shot and I can't play anymore. There was not a person over 24 in the bar at the time.
That's
and
crazy.
I was like, you know what? This is a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun. So, all right. Well, Dave's down in Florida. He'll be coming back soon next week. I think we're going to have Chris Gucci on the show next week because he's a Packer fan. The Giants play Monday night. I'm predicting Tommy DeVito show on Monday night as he lights up the electrified crowd here at the Meadowlands. And that's it. Everybody, thanks for listening. Sorry for the delay. Thanks for everybody chatting and sending me text during the week, what you liked about the show, didn't like about the show. Steve, as always, a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Dave, have fun with your kids, and we will see everybody next week. See ya.